and the blast knocked Lorna off her feet. It was almost like in slow motion. You're trying to assimilate this information really quickly, and you're enclosed in a very small space. And actually, when you're that frightened, you can't move. You can't do anything. You know, you're sort of almost powerless. And Rena stepped into the office, and I screamed and ran around the back of her.
I heard this small bang, you know, and we obviously thought it was like some electrical fault or something like that. I ran downstairs.
As I got to the stairs, there was another gunshot. And I didn't know at that point that she'd shot her again or whether she'd shot herself.
She was saying, oh my God, she shot Lorna. Basically, I mean, we both turned around and started running back up the stairs when the second gunshot went off.
It's like I come to and it's like, oh God, she's all hurt. And it was my mate lying there.
We went around the back to actually look down into the office, because there was nothing happening, and we were a bit worried about Lorna ourselves. And when we looked over the wall, there was Rena there, and she was just sitting on the phone, calm as, like, I mean, there was nothing.
There were witness statements, as I recall, that she looked very calm. Now, you might expect somebody who'd determinedly gone down to kill her husband's lover to be obviously furious and obviously aroused and obviously going to do something awful. But that doesn't seem to have been the case.
Plainly, the way people react after an action like that differs infinitely. Sometimes it's hysterical, sometimes it's icy cool.
So her description of what I've called partial dissociation and the witness statements that describe her as, if you like, abnormally calm, that goes together to suggest that she was in a very disordered state, a very aroused and disordered state.
There was a form of detachment, also a resignation and a knowledge that somebody else was going to have to look after the children. When she was asked, is Lorna still alive? She actually said, I don't know, in an uninterested manner. But the way she had taken her cigarettes in with her, and actually, to the best of my recollection, smoked 2 of them while she was waiting for the police to arrive, gave the air of someone who, almost in military terms, had decided that the mission had been accomplished.
And then I phoned Paul, because I'd always phoned him when anything happened, but he didn't answer. So then I texted him, and he still didn't answer. And I thought, I don't know what to do, because I can't leave her. So I sat with her.
There's always the question as to how and why the mother of 2 charming children should so jeopardize their upbringing by killing her rival for her husband's affections. In a case of this kind, it's obviously frequently the case that psychiatrists will differ as to the motives of a murderer, or a murderess in this case. What it boiled down to in the end was that 4 psychiatrists were quite satisfied that Rena Salmon wasn't in charge of her actions, and the Crown's psychiatrist said that this was just plain anger, and that she was so angry that she killed her rival, not because she could not control herself, but because she wanted revenge on the person who had. Lorna herself acknowledged it, damaged Rena's life fundamentally.
I took a life, and it was of somebody I loved and I cared about. I could understand why they would fall in love. I loved him, why wouldn't she? I loved her, why wouldn't he?
I felt, actually, I shouldn't have been the last person to see Lorna alive. I sort of was privy to a situation that was nothing to do with me. My family has suffered as a consequence. But how incredibly sad that someone would be driven to have to do that. You know, she fired the gun, but I feel Paul fired the emotional bullet to put her there.
But in a cruel twist, Rena Salmon not only took Lorna Stewart's life that day in September 2002, Lorna was 2 months pregnant with Paul's child, a fact Rena learned after the trial.
Regret. I live with it every day. I had died and didn't achieve anything. It didn't stop my pain. It would never have brought Paul back. I knew it was past being about him. The saddest thing in all this is the kids, and all the kids lost. Kendall and Megan lost a mum, and my two lost their mum. That's what I mean, it was selfish.